Yes, hello everyone. So this is a session on SQAAF, right? School Quality Assurance Assessment Framework. So we'll be just starting this shortly. Good evening, everyone. So we're just waiting for 1 or 2 minutes, then we'll start, right? So I just want everyone to join in. So first of all, thank you for registering because this is something which is uh, really the core of education system which is going to come up. So the first part of this session will be the explanation of the document. Of course, you must have gone through that. It's a huge document there. And I'm trying to simplify this as much as possible. Good evening to all. So I think it's time, so we will not wait anymore. We'll start. And just allow me to share the screen. So there were registrations coming up till the last minute, so it became a little difficult to accommodate people. So anyways, we are good to go. Right, so we have the document before us, School Quality Assessment and Assurance, right? Encouraging self-evaluation, accountability, collaboration, and innovation. So first of all, the SQAA, which has been released, is an exhaustive document, right? You must have gone through this document. It's exhaustive, and there are a lot of nuances to it, which I will be explaining to you. The first is that there are some benchmarks to it. It is to be viewed as a tool for continual process of self-assessment. So there are two parts in this that I will be explaining to you. The first part is the self-assessment, and second is the assessment by the external people, right? So there are two parts of the assessment that we have to understand. And there are so many stakeholders involved in this. The stakeholders are very, very important. The stakeholders are our parents, students, of course, the most important, teachers, principal, coordinators, friends of the school, alumni, and all these people are working together for a common cause, right? So it's important that we understand what this whole network is all about. So today's session is all about understanding the SQAA framework. Now, before 3-4 days, when I was going through the document, there were 8 domains, and suddenly yesterday, 2 days back, they changed it into 7 domains. So there was a little problem in this. So I will be just explaining to you the two documents which were released. The first one was obviously on 8 domains and the second one is of the 7 domains. The vision is, of course, to provide quality education to the students. Actually, India is such a vast country that we have some elite schools and we also have some rural schools situated even under trees or even 2-room sets. So this is the problem. And therefore, it is important that we have certain some parameters. We need to have some parameters of judgment. Some quality assessment has to be there. That is important. So unless we have this quality framework, then nothing is going to be achieved. So that is why a vision is very important. And what is the vision of SQAA is to reassure our stakeholders. We have to reassure our stakeholders. As I told you, the stakeholders are all the people associated with our schools, so that we provide quality education to our students through standardized instruments and processes. It's not that we are doing something on the basis of our whims and fancies. So this document is a complete document which is emphasizing on so many factors, which I will be going through or leading to, or we'll discuss slowly what is the whole document about. So it is basically so that the establishments that are across India, and not only in India, wherever there are CBSE schools across Africa, Middle East, the vision is to provide quality education to all the students in CBSE schools. So a student who is passing out from class 5, 10, 12, irrespective of which state, district or country, from any CBSE schools, the minimum learning outcomes as was released earlier should be same, or they should be provided with the same quality education. And that is why this is very, very important. So that was the vision, and what is therefore the mission of this whole thing is to promote quality education. Okay, so the promotion of quality education. So they have identified some domains, and what we need to do is that we have to work in coordination with the stakeholders to develop systems so that our schools continually improve. So we need to have a target in place, not verbally but written. We need to stimulate ourselves. We need to motivate our teachers and motivate all the stakeholders so that our schools get better and better. And we have to foster that culture of openness, transparency, so that our self-assessment as well as our external assessment goes on well. So this whole document is about 2 parts. And to explain the 2 parts, we need to understand what are our domains. Okay, we need to understand what are domains. So what are the domains basically? So the main domain is the broad areas of school functioning. Okay, so curriculum is one of the major area of school functioning. We are all focused on what we teach, how we teach, right? The methodology, the learning outcomes, the learning objectives, these are very, very important. So the domain is very important, and there are subdomains to it. That means we'll specify what constitutes the concerned domain, right? So there is a big thing that is curriculum. In that there will be subdomains like lesson planning, curriculum development, implementation, assessments, all that will come in curriculum, right? So therefore we need to develop some rubrics. Therefore we need to develop some rubrics so that the performance can be assessed. And for all this, evidences and records should be there. That's very, very important, because unless we have evidences for whatever we do, then the CBSE will say that, this is manipulated. So we don't want that. We want everything to be documented. So we need evidences. So evidence is very important. So most of us are doing so many things, but we don't record it. So whether it is the teacher's chronicle or the teacher's diary or, the lesson plans, the yearly plans, the monthly plans, the weekly plans, all that has to be recorded. And therefore we need to support whatever claim the school or the teacher is doing. We need to have records by way of reports, by way of minutes of the meeting, by way of photographs, by uploading it on the school website or whatever means that you are having, right? So we need to make this domain, subdomain, so that different responsibilities can be given to different people, right? So the main objective, therefore, will be to reflect and review the school process. We need to review and the school process. Is everything going on well, or there is some things which are not going well? Okay, these are the things which are going on well. Very good. Can we improve that? These are the things we need to improve upon, because there are problems in these areas. And how are we going to do it? So how, why, when, set a target, give yourself some time. This is very important. So we need to prepare all our students accordingly. Obviously, it's not going to be something which happens on the spot. It is going to be something which is to be thought about in a duration of time, right? It cannot be done in an instance. So inclusive education is being stressed upon so much. So it is important that inclusive education is part of every school. Earlier, when students used to come to certain schools, they would say that, okay, we don't have facilities for, disabled children or children with disability. You can go to this particular school, ABC school, okay, because our school is not having the provision. But now CBSE says, no, inclusive education means you need to build basics so that even children with special needs come across to your school, they will not have issues. That means building ramps, probably a lift, or shifting classrooms, whatever can be done for them. And you need to have special educator counselor that is there in all schools. So developing all these strategies is very important. And then, of course, we need to become incubators of innovation, not keep doing the same old stuff. Okay, we take out what we did last year, just copy on that this year also. That doesn't become innovation. We need to constantly strive for getting better and better. We need to formulate modules, and they have already given the idea of hubs of learning. What were these hubs of learning? In the earlier document, they said that these hubs of learning are what? They are a collection of schools. They are collection of schools who come together for a collective purpose of providing better facilities. So you have 5 schools around you, you collaborate with them, and then, okay, we have this infrastructure which is very good. Why don't you bring your students here? We have a good auditorium, we have a good field, we have, good yoga teacher who teaches this. So collaboration like that. So what happens is that you make best use of the resources available around you, right? So we need to formulate modules in collaboration with our hubs of learning as well. And then what are we going to do? We are going to develop these modules as per our region, and so that the students become better and better. Now, who is eligible for the SQAA process? Who is eligible? This is definitely something that is related to CBSE. So if you are belonging to state board or IB syllabus or American curriculum, this SQAA is not going to be implemented in those. This has come for only CBSE schools, right? That is number one. Secondly, all schools aspiring for CBSE. That means there are some schools which are up to 10th, for example, and they probably want to shift to CBSE from state board. Many queries come to me that we are in this board of the state and now we want to go to CBSE. What is the process? So if you want to aspire for CBSE affiliation, maybe after 10th, maybe after 5, any class, then you need to be undergoing this process, SQAA. Okay, so we must undergo all the CBSE schools or already CBSE schools, or all the schools which are aspiring to become CBSE schools need to be present or need to present their records for this affiliation process. Otherwise, affiliation will not be obtained. They need to go through this document. So it's going to be the schools who want to be affiliated to the board. In the COVID, we saw that everything was online, but there will be an offline board where the inspectors will come and assess the whole thing, right? And all decide, and the core values have to be kept in mind. What were the core values? That is use of technology, interdependence, importance of research, enhancement in employability skills. So many life skill courses have been introduced by CBSE in the past so many years. You must have introduced in your schools also so many AI courses, coding, and so many other life skill courses which were missing earlier. So this is very important. And obviously creating global citizens. That is very important that we create global citizens. Otherwise, if we are restricted to our own schools, our own states, then we are like the frog in the well. You heard about the story of the frog in the well, right? So we think that we are the best, but when we go outside to another school, then the so-called topper of our school may not be anything, because the other students there are possibly more talented or are more into different things. And therefore, this they have divided into domains, right? They have divided into many domains. And what are these domains? We will understand shortly. And the eight domains, they were earlier specifying about the 8 domains. Now, as per the new document which is released, it is 7 domains. Now, how are these domains divided? If you see here in this diagram, there are 7 domains. And if you go through these 7 domains, it is very clear. There is curriculum 40%. They have given some percentage also in that, right? They have given some curriculum as 40%. If you see the old document, compare it with the old document, then what happens is that the curriculum and co-curricular were divided into 2 parts. The curriculum was 25 and that was 50. That was just 1 week before when I saw that document. They changed that. Now, my guess is that, why they have not bifurcated the curriculum and the co-curricular, because says that NEP says that the curriculum should include the co-curricular. There's nothing called co-curricular, right? Nothing called co-curricular. There is nothing called co-curricular. Why is that? Because NEP said that we should avoid these terminologies. We should avoid these terminologies because when we talk about curricular, then automatically the co-curricular is given less importance, isn't it? So the NEP clearly says there is no distinction between, let's say, math, science, and music and painting. So I have a feeling that they removed that. Somebody must have brought about that point that, why to have co-curriculum? It should be part of curriculum. So music, painting, that when the NEP is going to be implemented, these are all going to be proper subjects, not extracurricular where we are giving some grade. Okay, that was earlier. Now that system is not there. So that is why I feel that 25 and 15, they made it into one domain. Second is the infrastructure. Now, this is our main focus area as teachers. Now, if somebody, many principals and chairmen and other people are there who are attending this webinar, then for them this also becomes important. That is infrastructure, because for teacher it may be difficult to decide what infrastructure should be given. We can give suggestions, but we don't have direct power to improve it, right? So lab facilities, library facilities, in classrooms, what all facilities can be given? Can we give a digital board or a smart board? What all can we give good washrooms? How should the playground? Can we have one more basketball court? Can we have more games? Can we have more teachers? So infrastructure wise, 10% is allotted. So there will be a question answer on that, where educators have to answer questions on the infrastructure. So everybody who is involved with this obviously will be doing that assessment. Human resources. Human resources are basically the people involved. So people means not only the teachers, the staff, the people who work in the offices, the non-teaching staff, the 4th class employees there, the guards, the gardeners, all those people. And also it will also involve to a certain extent the alumni association of the ex-students, the parents. So human resources basically dealing with people. So you have a questionnaire based on that. Inclusive practices. Is your school having good inclusive practice? Do you have a special educator? What are you doing about your special kids? Are you getting them permissions from CBSE to get a writer, or some extra help is given during school hours? What kind of help? All this comes under inclusive practices. Management and governance, again, it's of the senior leadership. When we go through the questions, we'll understand the difference. Again, leadership for senior management, coordinators, principals and all. What is the, how the leadership is happy with the functioning of the school? It's basically a questionnaire for them. And of course, the beneficiary satisfaction. Who is a beneficiary? The most important beneficiary is the student. Are the students satisfied? Now, one very beautiful thing about the SQAA is that this is not an assessment for teachers. This is an assessment for all stakeholders. That means students will also participate in this. When the team is made, I'll show you how the team is going to be made. There will be students as well. How many times do we include students in any of our assessments in the school? Maybe 1 or 2 schools are doing, but the general population, I can say, are not doing it, right? The general population are not doing it. In many of the schools, they will just have a decision making body, and they will say to the students, okay, this is what is going to happen. This is your syllabus for the final test, or this is how we are going to make the selection for the football team. The student opinion is never taken. So here in this beneficiary satisfaction, the student's opinion is also taken. So that is a very beautiful thing. And we are supposed to give points to it. Okay. The points are 1, 2, 3, 4. And if we don't want to give any point, then that is 0. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now what are these points? The point 1, that means the practices are very nascent. You are just starting to implement something, but it's not happening properly, or just initiated. It is just initiated. Then we can say it is level 1. Level 2 means it is slightly more developed. Okay, slightly more developed as compared to the level 1. So you can give 2 points. So yeah, 2 points. Level 3 means it is stable. Level 3 means it is stable. That means you are doing well, but at the same time, you need a lot of improvement in certain areas. So it's very important that we understand level 1, 2, 3. And what is level 4? That means very dynamic, evolving. That means all your records or everything is in place. You have documents in place. The leadership is good. Teachers are happy. Students are happy. Parents are happy. So that's the highest. That means you have already reached the pinnacle. So these are the 4 levels. So when you do the assessment, it has to be done very nicely. Because if the assessment goes, if you are doing peer assessment, you are doing something, and the external assessment something else, then there will be a problem, right? So this is a problem. So we need to understand that we can also give 0. If you think that nothing is happening, then give 0. Right? So the scale is 0 to 4, not to do more than 4. Not to do more than 4. Okay, so 0 is the lowest, 4 is the highest. So I hope the 4 levels are clear. So we will give the weightage 0 to 4. Now comes the 2 phases of assessment. Now comes the 2 phases. So what are the 2 phases? The 2 phases is self-assessment, and second is the external assessment. So self-assessment means we are going to do ourselves. Ourselves means not every teacher is not involved. Some teachers will be involved. That will be dependent on the school. Okay, we will not decide that. The school will decide that. So this has to be mandatorily uploaded. It's not optional. So first, when it started, it was not compulsory. Now they made it mandatory that every 3 years. So it was, if you didn't do in the past 3 years, nobody would have asked. But now what is happening? They are saying that it is to be mandatorily uploaded every 3 years, right? The self-assessment. So how to upload on the portal, I will be explaining to you shortly, right? Phase 2, that is the self-assessment. You have understood, right? Self-assessment is something which is done by the school team. Now, how do you select the school team? That I will just tell you. And this has to be validated by the external team. So 2 phases are there in this whole thing. The first is the self-assessment, and second is the external assessment that's going to take place, right? The external assessment is going to take place. Now, external assessment can be done on random basis. The CBSE will say, okay, our team is going to come to your school, and please get ready your documents, and therefore you have to get ready all your documents, and then there will be an inspection team coming, which is constituted by the CBSE. It can be on demand by the school. Okay, suppose your school feels that we are ready, you can always write to the CBSE and say, or request them to say that, we want to get ourselves assessed. We want to get ourselves assessed. So this is important that the self-assessment is followed by the external, then only that whole evaluation is complete. So the external assessment can be done on demand by the school. It can be done on random basis, and it may be done by members of the hubs of learning. You know that there are hubs of learning. It can be done through that as well, right? So here, when we are talking about the external peer assessor team, again I'm repeating, that it can be on random basis. The CBSE is sending a team. It can be on random basis. It can be done by members of the hubs of learning. I told you that collaborative effort is going on by the school, so that will be there. And it can be done on demand by the school as well. So why are we doing all this? That is the next question. Why are we doing all this? So we need to update this information online. We are not going to, it's not a secret. We have to update. Just like we were doing the Kala Setu portal, right? When we were doing the art integration work, we were uploading all the work done by the students. You know, what all areas are the students doing, etc., etc. All that we were doing. So the school will update all the information of these domains on the platform developed by the board. So it will help the schools to identify how well the school is going. Okay, how well the school is doing, that is important. It will give a chance to review the process, and obviously that because of the feedback, there will be a plan for the future. So it's basically a review model. It's not that every school is going to get A grade or B grade in the first assessment. There will always be scope of improvement, and the idea is to get better and better, right? So that is why this whole thing is done and it is introduced. So the most important thing is that there has to be a lot of time and effort in this. The team that is preparing this report have to do it very honestly, and it has to be a collaborative and participative effort by your school team, and they have to keep all the documents ready. So how do you form the core team? That is the next step. So as per this document, they are saying that all the stakeholders are involved. If you see here, the first person is a member representative of the school management. Okay, the school management, one person will be there. Principal obviously will be a member of this. So principal has to be there. Then there has to be one teacher from each level. Okay, one teacher from each level. That is from primary, middle, and secondary and senior secondary. That means one teacher will be there from 1 to 5. One teacher will be at the middle school level, that is 6, 7, 8. And one teacher will be in the middle secondary, that is 9th and 10th, and senior secondary 11th and 12th. So you will have 4 teachers, primary, middle, secondary, senior secondary. 4 teachers, 1 principal, 1 member of the school management. And one very interesting thing in this core team, there will be 1 student also from each level. That means there will be 1 person from 1 student from primary, 1 student from middle, 1 student from secondary, and 1 student from senior secondary. Okay, that's important that we include our students as well. 2 parents who are members of the parent teacher association. Every school, have got PTA. So we need to select 2 parents from that. 1 teacher from the co-curricular domain. That means music teacher, art teacher, painting teacher, drama, clay modeling, all those who are doing the co-curricular domain in your school. 1 teacher you will appoint and become part of this team. There has to be 1 counselor or special educator or health professional. Okay, so 1 counselor or special educator. So all stakeholders, not only teachers who are teaching the subjects, but also teachers who are involved in other ways like counseling and special educator and all, and 1 representative from administration. So it is a big team, okay, because you are having principal, you are having a person from the school management. So different perspectives. Then only that assessment will be complete. Then you have 4 teachers, you have 4 students, we have 2 parents, we have 1 teacher of the co-curricular area, we have 1 counselor, and 1 person from the admin team, right? So that is our core team. Now what are they going to do? What are they going to do? First step is they're going to review the whole process. How is our school functioning? Where are we now? What are we doing? And why are we doing what we are doing? Is it something which some principal decided 10 years back, and now the principal has changed and the whole thing is still going on? So why are we doing it? That's also important. Okay, so sometimes certain schools do things over and over again, the same stuff. So this is important that we review our process properly, because it's important for a journey to understand where are we now and where are we going, because otherwise that journey cannot be planned. So that review is very, very important. Secondly, we have to reflect on what is happening. So once we know what are our problems, just 1 second. Yeah, just just 1 second, please. Yeah, so just give me 1 minute. Yeah, so we were going through this review, reflect, respond, and rate, right? We are going to just understand this document. Yeah, so here I am just going to explain the next step. So we went through this review, reflect. Now we are going to the third part, that is respond and respond. So once we reflect, there is a review, there is a reflect, we have to respond. So it is important that we identify what is working, what is not working. It's very easy for any school to do this. The team which we select, they are going to reflect this, and obviously there will be a response involved. What is the response is that we have, every school has a motto, right? Every school has a motto, and that motto we have to achieve, or we have a direction, we have our objectives. So we have identified that these are the issues which we have identified in our school. So we must know that how to respond now. Response is different from it's inaction. So response is usually what, something concrete. It is not an idea which is just kept in the books. So when I talk about reflection and response, the word response has got some meaning. That means we are going to do something about it. So if we have identified a problem, then how are we going to rectify that? That becomes a response, so that we achieve our aim. And then we are going to, after reviewing, reflecting, responding, we are going to rate. Are what we are doing, is it correct? How much points are we giving for that? So last slide I showed you that minimum is 0 and the maximum is 4. So you can give 0, we can give 1, or we can give 2, or we can give 3, or we can give 4. So that is the rating process. And then we'll total up all these marks. And then we'll total up all these marks. And when we total up all these marks, what is going to happen is that you will get a score, which will be your SQAA score. Okay. Now, these are the 4 levels. This is explained a little more in detail now. As I said, the 3 levels, when you give the points, it's very important to understand why we are giving that point. So level 1 means you've read the document. Okay, many of the teachers have not even read the NEP document, and they don't even know the basics. So that means 0. But if you have read through the NEP and NCF documents, you know something about it, then you know the basic principles, then that is level 1. That means you will give 1 point, right? 0 knowledge is 0. If some knowledge, some basic knowledge is there, that is level 1, inceptive knowledge. Then level 2, 2 points. school is organizing some programs, like you have, many of you are coordinators and leaders in your schools, you are attending these type of programs. So that is level 2. You can give 2 points because the school is organizing these type of programs for NEP, NCF. You are reading about it, the literature is being promoted. So all that is level 2. And level 3 is slightly more. That means your lesson plans are integrated with NEP. Your classrooms are reflecting what is, joyful learning, experiential learning, then art integration. All that is there. Feedback is given to the parents. There is a lot of interaction between the students and teachers. There is good rapport. That is stable. Stability is good. Points number 3. And point 4 is when you are perfect in that department. Okay, every school has got a USP, the best thing about them. So if that is the case, then you will be giving 4 points, and that grading system then only will be complete. So these are the suggestive supportive documents which you will be requiring as suggested in the framework. There will be some suggested supportive documents. So this the whole document I will be posting in the group, so you will have access to this. So are you having an assessment policy, yes or no, or in progress? So yes, no, or in progress, you can mark accordingly. So if you have something, you have a plan in place, yes, otherwise no, or in progress. That means you have formed a team and they're developing. Are you having meetings of your departmental meetings? Do you have orientation programs? Do you have school calendars? Do you have some innovation policies? Do you have a health and wellness policy? Do you have, cyber security policy? Do you have an environmental manage safety policy? Do you have a bullying policy? All this. Do you have a school improvement plan? So they have given different a chart like this. So what you need to do is that you have to just write there yes, no, or in progress for the assessment, right? And then the SQAA process. The SQAA process is going to improve the whole school. So whole school is involved. It is not that only primary school or senior school or middle school is involved. It is the whole school. So it is no longer, like CBSE was so far focusing on 10th and 12th, isn't it? Our lower classes were totally neglected. But this NEP has changed the whole dynamics of this. They are, in fact, pre-primary is being focused, then comes primary. So they have understood that the foundation is very, very important. So the whole school is involved, all the stakeholders are involved. It's no longer the principal giving direction or coordinators or teachers, senior teachers. It's the whole school. So it's a collaborative effort where all stakeholders are involved, okay, with the management and with the parents. So the first step is the self-assessment. Second is development of that plan, and third is the implementation. So when we talk about steps, what has to be done? First is the self-assessment. Second is how are we going to develop after the self-assessment is over, and then third is how are we going to implement it. And this has to be uploaded on the portal. So this is a suggestive template for self-improvement. Okay, so you can identify your areas that you want to assess. It could be curricular, it could be sports, it could be music, it could be infrastructure, it could be anything. Okay, and then what is the level of maturity? Level of maturity is 1, 2, 3, 4. So is it 1 that is inceptive level? Is it level 2 that is transient? Or 3 stable? Or is it dynamic? That is 4. Okay, then from inceptive, do you want to aspire to which level? From 1, do you want to go to 2, or 2 to 3, or 3 to 4, or directly from 1 to 4? Right? So this is what the aspirational level. Area of improvement, which areas do we need to improve? So suppose in curricular, what are the things that exactly you have to pinpoint that? Curriculum, what are the areas? Is it the planning, or is it the implementation, or the the periods allotted to the teachers, or the number of working hours? Different things can be there. So prioritized area LMH. L is low, medium, high. So whichever you think is the high priority requirement for the next year, you will mark it as H. If you think it's a low or medium, then you will write L and M. And proposed action. Okay, one is identifying and one is the proposed action. So what are we going to implement on that? That's important. And then the time, who is going to lead this team, convener, and time for completion. Okay, time for completion. When are we going to do this? So anybody who's having problem in reading this, don't worry. The whole document I'll be posting in our WhatsApp group. So some of you, I can see that there are messages coming that the screen is not clear. So don't worry about that. So if the screen is not clear, this full document of all these templates I will be posting, right? So nothing to worry about that. Then we come to the scorecard. Now, when we come to the scorecard, again, this is just an example of one part that I have taken, that is curriculum. So are the principal and teachers, for example, the first point, is the principal and the teachers, have they read this document? Okay, which document are they talking about, NEP and NCF? Is it in spirit of that? As I said, some of them don't even read the document. Is the curriculum developed so that the students become good learners? Is it based on the SDGs? Okay, so these are all things which we can do. Now we come to the steps, self-assessment steps. Now, when we come to the self-assessment steps, so the step one is that where are we now? Step one, we are going to review where are we now, what are we doing, why are we doing all this. That is step number one. Step two is reflect. So reflect, where do we want to go? And then third step, we told respond. Response means we are going to allot duties to people. We are going to monitor that and give feedback. We have to document the whole thing, engage in collaborative learning and so on. And then, of course, we are going to rate that whole thing, right? We have to rate it. Then there will be an external evaluation team that is going to happen. This is all about the internal evaluation. There will be an external evaluation. Okay, there will be an external evaluation. The external evaluation, as I told you, can be in different forms. There will be from the CBSE, or it will be from the hubs of learning. This obviously will be a confidential team. It will not be public by the CBSE. So it will have two trained and qualified peer assessor. There will be qualified people who will be doing this, and they will come to your school and confidentially give you. They are not there to frighten you or anything. It will be a very objective and fair assessment. And then you have to submit it on the portal. And when you submit on the portal, the CBSE is going to acknowledge that. And the first 4 steps was the internal assessment, and the last 4 steps will be the external assessment. So the main thing is to take action. So as teachers, educators, as parents, what we need to do is take action, because unless we take action, we sit down, we have knowledge about so many things, but we don't do anything about it. So the main thing is to take action. So schools are reopening now. Some schools have already reopened. So what we need to do is identify, start doing this process, or at least make steps so that people can start the assessment process, or make your teachers aware of what the whole thing is, because unless the whole thing is known, nobody is going to do anything about it, right? Then we are going to the next part, that is when we look at the SQAAF document, there is a statement involved. Statement is something which is well defined, okay, that it should not be ambiguous. So if suppose I make a statement, teachers are encouraged to implement the recommendation of the NCF document, or they plan their lessons. So what score are you going to give? Okay, it's not for one teacher, remember, it's for the whole school. So are the teachers using the recommendations of the NEP or NCF in us? So you can give 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we need to conduct orientation programs for this. School principal is aware of the NCF document. So it is not only about teachers, principal himself or herself have to be given the score. So how are we going to monitor this whole process? They have given us some instruments. And what are these instruments? One is a form. Okay, the forms are given in the end of this document, which I will be posting. Forms will be given at the end. There are some annexures which will be there. And there is a class observation scale. There will be questionnaire for not only for teachers, it is also for students, parents, and non-teaching staff. There will be a safety checklist. There will be a checklist for gender sensitivity if it is a co-ed school. There will be a scorecard, and then of course the SQAA form. So there are lots of things involved in this, which I will be showing the forms right at the end. So for all this, there you have 84 items. Now this is the old document where the 8 domains were there. Now in the new one, I saw that there are only 7. I told you the scholastic and co-scholastic, they have combined, right? So so we have only 7 domains, and every item, okay, they have given some item, they have given some questions, and on the basis of these questions, we have to assign points 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the first is the scholastic process. In the scholastic process, again, once the documentation happens, we will assign the points. Also, attendance is something very, very important. Attendance is something very, very important. The attendance, 75% of attendance is required by the students. That is important. Unless they have 75%, the government is very strict that it has to be strictly on the basis of medical reasons. And if it is less than 60, again, it's going to be very, very difficult for the child to attend further classes. At least the Delhi government has brought about a lot of guidelines. You need to check with your state government what are the recommendations there. But I think it will be there in most, that attendance is becoming very, very important and mandatory. And we go to infrastructure. That is again not related so much with us, so we can skip that. And what we can do is go to human resources. Now in the human resources, I told you, in the human resources, who are the people involved? The parents, students, alumni, the whole community, all these people are the human resources. It is important that all these people who are part of the school, that is the stakeholders, are involved in this mission of improving the schools. Otherwise, what will happen is that, one set of people are not happy. Obviously, it is not going to reflect good. There will be some area of weakness, then the school is not going to perform up to potential. So it is important that the school keeps all its stakeholders happy. Teachers have to be happy, parents have to be happy, children are happy. That is important. Inclusive practices are very, very important. We cannot keep anyone outside the classroom saying that we cannot deal with this. So equality, inclusion, diversion, all this is important. Management and governance is very important because this is very, very crucial. Who are the people who are managing the school? The relationship with the other stakeholders. How are the resources of the school being used? How are the finances being controlled? So is there transparency in the fee collected and the usage of the funds? Admission process, how is it? Is everything transparent? How is the whole planning mechanism? So this is basically, again, not a teacher's role, it is management and governance. And obviously the leadership, again, in collaborations, in leadership also, we find that it has to be collaborative. There has to be systems for ongoing quality and change management. So it's important that the school leadership is influential, because the leader makes a lot of difference. The principal is the most important person in the school context in terms of direct running. So the principal has to be a great motivator. A principal has to be empathetic to the situation around, and at the same time motivate their staff and students to perform to their potential. And the benefactors, all the benefactors I told you, they have to be happy. So it's important that not only the office staff, the non-teaching staff, everyone, the parents, everything has to be. The community around you, they need to be happy. Otherwise, some function happens, there is a jam, they will start complaining. So it's important that all the people in the community are also satisfied with the running of your school. Not that you are in isolation. We live in a society, and therefore it is important that everybody is happy around us. So this is what is the thing. And based on this, as I told you, there will be a scorecard. So if I'm showing you 2 scorecards, now The first scorecard, if you see, now I'm just comparing it on the two documents, because when you Google search, you will get two documents and you may get confused. Now, in this document, which I'm presently showing you, there are 8 domains. If you see first and second, scholastic and post-scholastic is separate here. But in the new document, if I show you, this is not there. Only 7 domains are there. They have not given a separate co-curricular domain there. Okay, so it's important that we understand that we have to follow the latest one. So this is the latest ones which I will be forwarding to you in the group. The curriculum infrastructure, these are the points that are associated. So how many points are there? Maximum a school can score is 336 points, because there are 84 questions. One question, the maximum marks you can give is 4. So 84 multiplied by 4, we are going to get 336. So 336 is the marks. Now, if you see the weightage, the curriculum has got the maximum, that is 40, and all the others are 10. Okay, that's the weightage of the the whole questionnaire. So 40% of the entire portion, 40% of the 84 questions, that means 26 the questions are there, which is curriculum based. So that's very important. And the remaining is 10%. They are also important because it will add up to your final score of 336. So suppose your school is getting 200 or 250 or 300, that becomes your SQAA score. So how to start the self-assessment? So as I told you that immediately after this, I will be sharing the Zoom link in the chat. So I will be showing you this more clearly, that how to start the self-assessment, and also I will be available for Q&A. So shortly after we end this, I will be sharing the Zoom link in the group that we have made for this particular webinar, right? So how to start the self-assessment? It's very important. This is something which is practically you have to do. You have to go through the SQAA portal. Okay, go to the SARAS portal. As you are all aware of this, you have to go to the SARAS portal, and in the SARAS portal, you will type in this. So I will be giving you this document as well, so that you can know exactly what to do. And when you go to this SARAS cbse.gov.in SQAA, you will be directed to this particular portal, SQAA in the end. So how to log in? You will go to login option, which is on the right side. Okay, on the right side of your page, you will find this login option. When you click on school login, Remember, this cannot be done by individuals. This is a school assessment. It is not done by individuals or by departments. Okay, so it is a school assessment. Now we have this login option here. The login option was to be given here. We have two options here: school login or login with OTP. School login is there, and login with OTP is also there. So we can do both. One is through the affiliation number, and your LOC password is there. You can log in through that, and you will be able to sign into this. Or you can log in with your CBSE Shiksha Mail email ID, and then you will be able to log into that. So you will get access only if you know the school login code, LOC password, and so on. Right. So once you log in, you will get a dashboard like this. In the dashboard, you will get all the instructions with regard to the self-assessment, information regarding integration of SQA with affiliation, all the self-learning material you will get, self-assessment, all this you will be getting. Step number 5, you will go to, if you want to access the material, you will get all this material here. In case you want to download and distribute to anyone, you can do that. I will be doing that in the group shortly. And here you are supposed to do the self-assessment marks, right? So your team has to access this page, and you have to give the points. So what is the scorecard? You will put here, and that scorecard will be there, and you will be getting the points. So this is basically the whole structure. So I wanted to explain this whole document first of all, so that it becomes a little bit clear. Now I will be sharing the Zoom link, and we will be joining the Zoom in about 10 minutes in that, so that all this login thing I can show more clearly. And also, if there are questions based on this, I will be able to take up that as well, right? So we'll have a 10-minute break now, and then after the 10-minute break, I will be putting that Zoom link, right? Thank you. So here, this link I am terminating right now. So this link I am terminating right now. So there were some disturbances also in between regarding the sound. I don't know, there was some disturbance, and also the screen was not clear for some people. So we'll be having a Zoom session shortly, and you will be able to understand it better there, right?